Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ethics at 8. I'm Dr. Arjun Bopanna. In these sessions, we are discussing previous year questions from UPSC and KPSC exam ethics paper. All right.
It is the values that determine a civil servant's behavior than training. So, values than training. So, behavior of civil servants. Behavior of civil servants is determined by values, belief, etc. Any human action is influenced by belief, it is influenced by values, it is influenced by attitude. That's what we have been discussing. In addition to that, now civil servants, they also undergo training. So the question is asking you, is values that shapes the behavior or training? The question is discussing. So both are to be debated, both the sides. That means as a civil servant, my actions, my behavior shall be shaped by my internal value system, and at the same time it shall be shaped by external training. Discuss is what the question is asking. Okay, think about it. Is that okay? So it's a discuss question. So therefore you'll have to write both, right? But the question is making a statement. Is values that determine this one than training? It's making a statement that values are more important. So you agree to that statement, let's say, and then you write. That's the first part of it. Then you also have to write the other side that no, values alone is not enough. If values alone was enough, you would have had ethics paper and directly you will become officers. Why training? That also has to be written because it's a discuss. Yes, values are important for civil servant to act. If a person is having good values, good values like honesty, integrity, compassion, etc., which is tested in your ethics paper, right? If that person is having those values, he will be a good civil servant, right? If he has values like empathy, he will be service oriented, oriented towards the welfare of marginalized section, etc. But at the same time, so you'll list it out, right? So that's what it is. So you can probably define what are values, or you can give the context of civil services. Why civil servants need values. So what will be your introduction? Define values. Simple. If you don't want to think too much, define. Whatever is asked, define. But generally, try to improvise. Everywhere, if you start giving definition, it becomes very monotonous. So here, you can write why values are important for civil service, because civil services job is very dynamic, complex, diversity, blah, 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 you'll write. Therefore, to address those challenges of civil services, one has to either have good values or has to undergo proper training with respect to the skill sets, knowledge. Thus, they need these things. You write. Then, why values are more important? You have to list down. Is that okay? So, civil services, the context. Why values are important. But on the other hand, you'll also write why training is important. Now, why values are important, all of you know, because we just discussed. You know, you can write the list. It is important for developing ethical standards, to developing certain characters, right? To develop leadership skills, okay? To be able to be more efficient by being happy. All that you need values, correct? Can you list all of that? First part of the answer, right? So face several ethical dilemmas, complex situation, to be a good leader, okay? Then training is mainly external, and it mainly focuses on skills, competencies. It does not focuses on values, because values are something based on belief. It's very difficult to inculcate. If at all training, they can only train you or give you a list of code of conduct, rules and regulation, which are very what? Which are very limited in scope. Value is broad. Remember that point. right? Values are broader in nature, scope. Whatever they tell you in training, follow civil services code of conduct is very limited. But if you want to have an ethical civil servant, it has to be much more wider, broader, right? It focuses on technical computer skills, okay, accounting skills, teach on constitution and other things, right? Deal with only professional conduct. What about empathy? What about sympathy? What about compassion? What about integrity? How will you teach it? Through training, you can't. So one has to have these values. Values also help them to receive more values, correct? No? Your aptitude will be different if you have good values. Develop aptitude because of that. And therefore you are open-minded to learn new rules and other things. Trust and emotional intelligence, etc., will be developed through values. Okay, external pressure is very much relevant in civil services to resist that negative changes, etc. Negative, you want to resist wrongs, you have to have values. Otherwise, you tend to collude with politicians. So values like neutrality, autonomy, etc., is important for civil service. No one can teach you that. You have to develop it. Is one argument. Okay. Then why do you need training? Why do you need training then? Over no value, you find out value. Over if they have values, good, go. Why values? I mean, why training? That is okay. From a ethical point of view, moral point of view. Why do you need training? Huh? Yes, correct. Training from not from a technical point of view. There could be some shortcomings in your ethical development, value development. So this can be inculcated through training. So therefore, you have Bharat Darshan, you have case studies, you have role plays in your training. Why? So that you develop new values. So through proper training modules, you can develop new values. Training will develop knowledge. Knowledge is important to appreciate values. Any deviation can be corrected, and not all values are correct. So to unlearn wrong values, you need also training. So like that, training also is equally important for civil services, right? So not all values are good. So therefore, we need to change those through training. We can do that. Okay, that is done through creating awareness, understanding of new culture, etc. Skill, competency development, application of values. You see the merit of it. Therefore, you inculcate it in your life, right? Rewards and punishment, cultural transformation, behavior changes. These are all keywords, and you can elaborate. Check deviations through training in modules, etc. So, what will your conclusion be then? Both are important. So, ethical training is the way ahead. Training is important. Ethical training, something you can attribute. So, through some committee report again, if you have, or when we do later sometime, we can incorporate those facts. Through ARC has recommended ethical this one. So we have civil services examination, maybe have ethics paper. So they are incorporating such ethical modules in training selection itself. That's something like that can be the conclusion. So conclusion may, you are going to write value-based training. This is the structure. Is that understood?